Hello, everybody. Morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Gonna spend a little bit of time today hacking on my Twitch integrations again. I really want to fix one thing, which is technically right now you can make requests to the song queue and like the app still listens to the song queue when I'm offline. And I want to see if there's a way we can like hook into Twitch events to basically disable listening to other events while I'm offline. Where should we start? Let's look at the Twitch client that we have set up here. I think we want listen for events here. So right now, the way this listen for event thing works is song queue. No, song request. So basically, you can listen to specific events, and that will create a subscription to that event. So yeah, here we go. So here, for example, like we're listening to this particular event that comes from Twitch with these conditions, and then we're running a particular method related to that. What I would like to do is find a way to kind of like externally interrupt these listen for this, like any event listeners that are not the one that's listening to me being online. So first, probably makes sense to look at the Twitch API. Event sub, subscription types. So here we should see if we could find the notification that corresponds to like me going on and offline. Channel. Stream online and stream offline. What's up, Mattia? It's going pretty good. I had a very nice weekend. It was a holiday in the US this past weekend, so it was very nice. Celebrated with the family. Had a big barbecue one day, and then we had seafood risotto, frutta di mare the next day. Like fire. So I'm not exactly sure what the best way to do this is going to be. I'd like for all of the interrupt logic to be centrally located in the Twitch client so that like my downstream services can just like listen to events and the client is the thing that handles turning events on and off. Hmm. Well, let's see if we can. Let's get rid of this terminal. Like what I'm thinking is maybe we could have like uh, a fiber map or a fiber set running these event listeners centralized in the client here. Um, well, let's start by declaring a listener for. So we'll probably want a fiber map where the key is some combination of like the event name and these conditions. But maybe we just start by creating the Twitch client. Let's figure out how this is going to work with we'll listen for event, and we're going to need to create the event, but we're going to want stream.online and stream.offline. Really what we want maybe the simplest way to do this actually is just to have a filter. Either that or like a latch. Well, in any case, we're going to need this. Whoops. And offline. Condition is going to be my broadcaster ID. So broadcaster. Broadcaster ID. What is it? Broadcaster user ID. Broadcaster user ID. Broadcaster ID. And we can shamelessly come over here and steal this. Whoops. This. We'll call our Twitch broadcaster ID. I already have that. Twitch broadcaster ID. Booer Kane, thank you very much for the follow. I really appreciate it, man. Hope you're enjoying the stream. If you guys want to request music, just to add to my Spotify queue, you can click the little channel points button in the bottom. There's a song request button. You just paste in the Spotify link. So go to Spotify, click the song you want, paste it in there, and it'll add the song to my song queue. Mike, I am not vibe coding currently. I feel like vibe coding is not fun to watch, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Ethan, hello. Yeah, I don't know what the simplest thing is going to be here, but I feel like a latch could be interesting within the stream. But that'll like That'll literally hold the stream back. I think maybe a filter with just like literally like a Boolean or something that I flip whenever I go offline, which just filters all events from the stream except for the ones that I'm interested in. Maybe we'll start with that. Because then we don't have to do anything fancy with like fiber maps or anything like that. The downstream listeners can just keep listening. It's maybe not like the most efficient, but maybe it's the like simplest, easiest solution. This is going to be stream.run. Right now we'll just run drain it. And interruptible for scoped. We're going to do the same thing down here. So at least this will set up the event listeners, but we still need to set up the domain. So let's go to domain Twitch. Let's add this particular event type. So where do I? So channel chat message event. What is this thing called? Zedlocks, thank you very much for the follow. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Request music so that you guys can listen to what you want to listen to. Yeah. And if there's something else you guys would rather watch me work on, just let me know. I'm happy to switch gears. Okay, so we'll duplicate this and we'll take a look at the reference for... What is this? Oh, man. Dude, Ethan, I love Breaking Benjamin. I don't listen to them as much now, but like when I was younger, man, I love these guys. Stream online. Condition. Stream online notification payload. Here we go. I want this. My playlist is Bullet for My Valentine, 3 Days Grace, and Breaking Benjamin. Lost Profits would have been on there, but... Yeah, I get that. Well, I'm a big fan of all the first three. Mike, thank you very much for the sub. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for supporting the stream. Feel free to request music. Mattia always requests very obscure Italian music, so I hate ads. That's okay. What was I doing? So we want to create export const stream online event schema.struct we'll export type stream on stream type stream online.type, and we want all of these. Copy. So we've got ID, schema.string.annotations, description is this. Broadcaster user ID, schema dot string dot organization was this. Broadcaster user login, schema dot string annotations. Description. Broadcaster username, schema dot string annotations. Equal. Type. I'm gonna move up here. This is gonna get a schema dot literal annotations. Like I said, Mattia always requesting obscure Italian music. Oh no, this is Mike. Okay. I used to play Halo 2 over and over with Breaking Bad on. The first Star Wars Battlefront on my Xbox Crystal. Yeah, when I was younger, man, this is the type of music I would listen to. Not what Mike currently requested, but like a lot of heavier stuff. Yeah, auto-modded, my bad. How do I request music? Go to the channel. Yeah, you guys can request. Yeah, it was the blow me thing, but it's okay. I don't care how long they are, but see, just request them. It's whatever. I'd rather you guys like use the features I'm building in my Twitch integrations than me build them for no reason. Okay. And this is going to have a description of the stream type. And then started at description, the timestamp. So we could probably actually just do a schema dot create time from daytime UTC for daytime UTC. I think this automatically is from a string. Yeah. All right, so that's the stream online event. And we can now add that over here with a stream online event type with stream.online. And then okay. So let's add the offline event, which I'm going to assume has a similar structure. Yeah. Like this song is hilarious. I know maybe half the stream probably doesn't understand it, but this is really funny. Today is a musica italiana kind of day. Indeed. Well, oh my God. Okay. And offline. Offline. I'm going to request my usual two requests from my favorite Arcane. So this one is the one I always request. Wait. Copy link to song. And then from the other album. Actually, I'm going to request 3. Lol. We are really going to have quite a mixture of music today. Okay. Okay, back to this. Okay, so now that we have our um, domain figured out, let's just make sure the condition is the same for stream offline. It is. Okay. Um, mm, 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 mm. We could probably, I mean, we could literally do this for now. Uh, let, let's do it in the ref, just because. False. Just to offset the Italian music. We've got Welsh. Nice. Okay, so run for each. Technically, this is what I'm playing right now is technically French and I forget Danish, I think that someone had told me. Well, the music is French, but I think the artist is one of them is French, one of them is Danish, I think. Let's rename type over here to something else. Rename to um, I'm gonna do it like this. Does that make it work? Yes. Cool. I don't know if Weird Al is lowering the bar. Some would say that is upping the ante. All right. So when we have an event come in and the event.type, so let's do a ref.set is online. Event.type equals live. Okie dokie. Today's Claude vibe of fixing stuff is putting effect.or die everywhere. Nice. Hey, Claude knows what's up. Just die. You know what I mean? Everything is a defect. And we see a ref.set is online false. So basically now we've got this thing that will set whether or not we're online. And if we are online, we can still create these subscriptions. But we're going to do stream.filter effect. Uh, I think that's good enough. So basically, if we're online, do we emit events? Otherwise, the stream just filters them out. I feel like that's pretty good. You know, Mike, you should share more with us about how you're doing context management for Claude, because uh, that's one thing I've still been figuring out is like, so, as I use Claude more, we should do a stream. Uh, as I use Claude more, I think like it's all about context management and like effectively managing the context of Claude. Cause like, yeah, because if you don't give it good context, I feel like it just does a shit job. But if you give it good context on what it needs to do, it could like, it blows you away. So I feel like this is good. Yeah, I think a stream about just like how you discovered context management works well for you with Claude would be just interesting in general, but also for me so that I can more effectively use it. Like knowing what to put into the context, what not, what it finds useful and what it doesn't. All right, we're back to my song requests. So Twitch client is now going to be a scoped service. So this should work now. The only thing that is going to be annoying is if we redeploy this, I'm not sure if the online event will fire again. I don't think it will. So maybe we should just default as online to true. Oops. Yeah, I feel like this is pretty good. Like, you know what we need for my stream? We need so I don't have any notifications for when people follow or subscribe. What we need is like a funny effect, like logo-ish something for when people follow or subscribe to me. I feel like Mirella could do a really good job with that. Like something that pops up on the screen that's like effect oriented. David Nucio, thank you very much for the follow. I hope you're enjoying the stream. Feel free to request some music. Yeah, let me know if you folks would rather watch me work on something else. Yeah, a hat. Effect or die. All right, let's deploy this and see if I break the whole stream. Ah, okay. Sebastian is familiar with the concept of a good hat. I would agree with that. Fly, deploy. Actually, wait, before we do that, let's do a pnpm check. Do I have a check command? I do. Cool. Fly, deploy. Hopefully this works. If it doesn't, I'll have temporarily broken song requests, so my bad. All right, so I think these are the only two events we need to listen to for this. Mm, let's do a fly logs on the machine. All these requests are the widget. The little widget that I built that's on my stream. I still need to get an effect hat next payday. Yep. Need the swag. I don't know if Mirella's concluded her poll, but you could fill out the thing on Twitch. Not Twitch, on Twitter. That Mirella the effect account posted when we hit 10,000 stars. We're giving away some swag. So I don't think I've broken anything yet. Let's see if song requests still work. Go to here. Let's request this one. Copy link to song. I think all my integrations are still working. I don't know why my logs are just this. Oh, here we go. Oh. So I think we could ship this. This is going to be prevent events from. Actually, this is a problem. Because I need to right now. This will prevent these events from being listened to. Event. This is going to be a Twitch event, sub event, I think. William. Event dot type 8 bulls or event dot type. All right. Let's just do it like this. We allow so only filter events if We are currently offline. Only filter on an event if we are offline. Filter effect. How does this work? This thing. If true, then we write the thing. Otherwise, we don't. Okay. Why can't I do Boolean logic in my head right now? We filter an event. Only emit events. Let's do it that way. Let's write blind. So only emit an event if we are online. It's not an and. Hmm. So here, let's write all this. Python map. Oops. Uh, we're only going to only emit the event if we are currently online or the event is related to is online. So yeah, if we're online or if it's an online event, then we emit the event. Otherwise, we don't. If we're offline. Okay. Okay. Um, do not emit events when off. All right, let's redeploy this. I think this will work. The only thing I might want to do is change the ref to a subscription ref. I mean, not a subscription ref. Well, the subscription ref could be interesting. Then I could like merge that into the streams that I'm creating. But I feel like this is fine for now. All right, let's see if I broke anything. I don't think I did, but cool. I got all the logs, I think, here. Yeah, here we go. Event received. Kind of weird that I'm getting that. I think I know why I'm getting it multiple times, that log, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. But yeah, I love this song. All right, what else should I add? What else should I add to this these Twitch integrations? I don't have any more ideas for Twitch integration stuff at the moment. So if there's no more Twitch integration ideas, I might fix the website because I think the playground is currently broken, unless that was just on my end. Let me see. So when I ran this earlier, it was broken, but that might just be because I imported something incorrectly. Oh yeah, never mind. It's working. This song is so ridiculous. Mattia, I'm surprised you haven't requested the song yet today. I guess we don't have enough folks from Dylan's stream here to request the song in question. There we go. Let's see how long we have to. Let's see how long we have to wait. Are you using the same? Hi, it is Cyprian. How's it going? Are you using the same NeoVim as Dylan? I use the same Tmux setup as him, which is why my UI looks similar. So Tmux, and I also use the Cappuccino Macchiato theme. So that's kind of why my UI looks the same. But my NeoVim configs, like I use a bunch of different plugins that he does. But we talk a lot about our NeoVim setup. If you're curious about mine, it's here. I write my NeoVim setup in Nix, so I can build a standalone executable for like NeoVim with all my plugins and stuff included. But I would say we have quite a few similarities between our setups. So, all right. I don't know what else we need to add to. I don't know what else we need to add. Damn, I did something to my shoulder this weekend. My whole arm hurts. The same. I have mine custom from scratch. GNU Stow is a must. Yeah. Well, with Nix, I don't think I need Stow with Nix because if I understand what Stow does, GNU Stow. Yeah, Symlink Farm Manager, which takes distinct packages of software and yeah. So with Nix, you can create a Symlink farm by default. There's a like if you ever wanted to, there's a link farm helper. So this is kind of like Nix's version of GNU Stow, I guess. But the Nix config that I built for with my NeoVim, sorry, the NeoVim configuration that I built with Nix, uses a piece of software called NixVim, which is why I titled my project NixVim. But NixVim community NixVim is a project that allows you to configure NeoVim like through Nix, basically. So all the software gets packaged together anyways. So for me, I didn't need like something like Stow. But if you're not using Nix, I could see why Stow would be like really useful. There's also another Nix-based NeoVim configuration tool called NixCats, which so NixVim, I've like talked about this several times on my stream, but NixVim leans very heavily into Nix syntax, whereas NixCats is still Nix based, and you get like all the benefits of package management with Nix. But you can write your full NeoVim configuration in Lua. like you would normally. So if you really like enjoy writing Lua, but you really want to use Nix, you could look at this if you want. If it's of interesting. If it's of interest. This is like my top 5 Daft Punk songs. Like, I love this song. I don't know why. I just love this song. Yeah, Tommy, I think this is a pretty cool piece of software. Nixvim is really nice. But anyways, yeah, I like it for my own Nix configs. So I don't think there's anything else I want to add to my Twitch integrations at the moment, unless you guys have any ideas of stuff you'd like me to add. Why does he sound like Arnold? It's Georgia. That's why. Lee Crab. This guy. Giovanni Giorgio. This guy. Italian composer. See, the Italians just know. Father of disco. He's credited with pioneering Euro disco and electronic dance music. So that's why Daft Punk wrote a song about him. And that's him talking at the beginning. See, people don't get it. The Italians invent everything good. Anyway. All right, what should I work on? I could work on something in effect core. We could add something else to the Twitch integrations. Although I have no idea what else to add right now. There's this agentic framework. There's this agentic framework called I think it's like Camel AI, Camel AI, that I thought was cool. Where are the docs? Get started. Oh, Camel AI. Where are the docs? Am I blind? View docs. So I've actually talked about implementing an agent like module for Effect AI, like a chat agent, built on top of AI chat. And I really like this whole being able to run individual steps. So like you could imagine the same type of API in Effect where you control on a very granular level. Because what I hate about the Vercel AI SDK is you have to hook into so much to be able to control what's happening, right? Like the whole max steps thing and on step and all the whole like I think that it's not enough control that they're exposing. I think they're like adding stuff to try to um, give you more control, which is great. But um, but I feel like you need more control when you're running an agent. And I like this kind of API where like you create the agent up front, maybe you give it like a system message or something, and then you have like full control over the steps that are executed. Um, and you can like just use it with tools. You can use it structured outputs, all the same normal stuff. And if we build it on top of AI chat, it would like be a pretty thin wrapper around AI chat to start with, but it could like do other stuff. Let's see what advanced features are in here. You can dynamically select which model an agent uses for each step by adding your own schedule. Yeah, and for us, this whole like scheduling strategy thing, like it would literally just be a matter of injecting the language model you want to use at each step. Let's see. Basic chat agent usage. The heck is a society? Jeez. Anyway, I think it would be kind of cool to like basically a very, very thin abstraction over the top of AI chat so that like your history is preserved, everything like that. But you every time you execute a step, it gives you like the full response back along with maybe like some metadata about like that step. So like the step number you're on maybe, or maybe we don't give metadata back and like we let you track that all yourself. But like I think AI chat is already 90% of the way there. In fact, I think you could already do something like this with AI chat. Like you don't even need the concept of steps. You just keep like running pieces of code. So maybe we don't even need a separate module because thinking about this further, like the AI chat can already do this stuff. Anyway, just thinking about like different things really affect AI SDKs. Man, I always forget to edit my stream information. Literally every time. Every time. Did I not push this up? Bradonovich, what's up? How goes it? Welcome, welcome. Trying to figure out what I'm going to work on for the next half hour before I go on to work on things that I can't stream. Anybody have any ideas? What do you want to see work done? Or are you all just here for the music, which is also fine? Patiently waiting for the Steam Deck I ordered last week to arrive. Nice. I've been working on my home lab recently a little bit more. And I just like I wanted to test out like a ZFS file system for my home lab, but I've really not been like happy with the performance because the PowerEdge server I've got running in my basement only has like hard disks. So like I feel like the ZFS file system, it's not been very performant for things that are doing heavy read-write operations. Here's the crab rave. Thank God. Write your own file system in Rust. Yeah. Are we all just here for the music and then the crab rave starts? The universe is telling us something. No, what I actually want to do is I want to buy a like solid state drive and install it as the primary hard drive for the server, like maybe a 2 terabyte SSD, and use that because I've been doing a lot of like development on my home, like on the server I have running in my basement. I just SSH to the server and have been doing a lot of development on it. But like the IO performance on those hard disks is pretty not great. So I want to get an SSD and install it, and then use those other 3 hard drives. They're like 750 gig hard disks. Just use them for like external storage. Maybe I'll set up like an NFS for my house or something on those disks instead. And I'll just use the 2 terabyte SSD as a primary. Joseph, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I hope that you're enjoying it. Feel free to request some music. Feel free to let me know what you'd like to see me work on. I'm currently at a loss. I don't have anything on. You know what? I should probably start working on stream. You know what? I should probably start working on stream. I should probably start the refactor of Effect CLI. And I don't want to refactor the like external APIs too much, but what I'd like to enable is a few different things for Effect CLI. So let's go to Effect Small, Effect TS, Effect Small. All right, let's pull down the latest changes. What I really want. So packages, effect, source. This is going to be an unstable module at the moment. What do I have to put in here? Oops. .index.ts. No. Why is it getting hidden here but not here? Maybe I have to explicitly show it in Git. I don't know. Does Tim ignore and not ignore those? All right, I'm not going to worry about it too much. What I really want to have in the next version of Effect CLI, in the next refactor of Effect CLI, or maybe goals. So we want to preserve the current like composable API service for options, bars, commands, etc. We want to refactor like basically CLI output. So what do I mean by that? I want to have CLI output, like for example, help documentation should become a service that can be overridden. So basically, rendering. So you can improve rendering and help documentation. So we want to, number one, improve the rendering of help documentation. Basically, like all the double lines and all that garbage. Want to get rid of that. We want to have the help documentation become a service that can be overridden. So, like in right now, the help docs are like an AST that are interpreted, but not as like a service. It's just interpreted as part of the CLI, and it uses the effect printer package to do that. I want to refactor help documentation entirely so that the external API is a service that you can override if you want to. So maybe the default implementation that we provide would use printer, but maybe not, right? Like maybe we'll find a better way to do it that doesn't use printer. And maybe we can like simplify that heavily. The only thing that I really like about printer is that it handles all the ANSI stuff by default for me. So that's kind of like the nice part about that. What other improvements do we want to make? Oh, I know. We want allow positional args and command flags to appear in any order somehow. We could potentially look at like frameworks like Clap to see like the types of controls that they give. Take inspiration from like the Rust ecosystem. Um, so maybe like on stream we'll start working on a refactor of Effect CLI in the small repo. I already have it on my to-do list that I need to start porting CLI over anyways. So perhaps it's a good time to work on this. Yeah, this could be like a fun thing to start working on. What do you guys think? Do my future streams this week on Effect CLI, porting it to small, refactoring it to be much like better in terms of the controls that you have. Everything should be service based. So maybe we could even make like the CLI argument parsing a service that you could override if you want to. That would be kind of cool. Like the more stuff that we make service based, the more that you can control stuff if you want to. All right. So why don't we get the scaffold that we need set up here? I don't understand. Still T-Rex mail. No. CLI. Yeah, why is this being hidden? I just have to add it to get for it to show up. Let's look at the other modules that Tim's been working on. I mean, it looks like these are all pretty, and we can vibe code with this. We could like vibe code some effect CLI stuff. Yeah, I mean, I would like a command line parser service, right? Uh, um, something like this would be interesting. Basically, like taking. Let's actually look at how clap is implemented because I like a lot of what they do. Um, uh, modules. So their arg struct is interesting. Arg group, family of related arguments, arg matches, container for parsed results. Let's take a look. Value name. In the case of arguments that take values and positional arguments, the name will also be displayed when the user prints usage or help information for the program. Okay. So they unify options and args into a single. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, we don't need this like arg action stuff thing, but okay, this is kind of interesting. Specifies the index of a positional argument starting at 1. The index refers to position according to other positional arguments. It does not define position in the argument list as a whole. You can optionally leave off the index method, and the index will be assigned in order of evaluation. Using the index method allows for setting indexes out of order. This is only meant to be used for positional arguments. It shouldn't be used with arg.short or arg.long. When utilized with arg num args, only the last positional argument may be defined as having a variable number. This way, okay. That's interesting. Oh man, Warp Tour. Did you guys ever go to Warp Tour? Is that a US only thing? Warped Tour? Or was that like a For the United States and Canada. Yeah. Man, I loved going to Warp's Tour when I was younger. Wow, this lineup for 2025 is wild. If this is true. Wait a minute. Holy moly. My Chemical Romance, Linkin Park, Blink 182, Paramore, Taking You Back Sunday. It's like my whole teenage years. Another fantastic they only did this for a few years, but another really good music festival was Linkin Park's, which was Linkin Park Music Festival. I forget what it was called. What was it called? What was it called? What was it called? Music. Man, I forget the name. It was years ago. The name of the tour is escaping me right now, but they had like bands like Atreyu, Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance, Linkin Park headlined. It was so good. Anyway, I want to see what this struct looks like internally. So ID help, long help, action. Value parser, settings, art flags. Styled string. Kind of cool. Their styled string module. Anyway, I like the idea of being able to have more control over like the command line and how it's parsed. Because right now we parse the command line like in concert with the like the arguments and options. So like as the command line is being traversed, we try options, and then if we get to the end of the like where the option flags are located, then we start parsing arguments. So arguments always have to follow flags like options. But I'd like to lift that restriction. The only tricky part then is like, how do you differentiate between, and this is a problem that I had many times, but how do you differentiate between subcommands and positional arguments? And I guess you have to try parsing the subcommand first. And then if that works, you move on to parsing like the subcommand, because it's essentially like a tree that you're creating in the command line. So like you could parse the command line structure as a tree, where every command is a node in the tree associated with like its options and positional arguments. And then once the command line's like parsed, you can traverse that tree with the command structure you've defined. Could be an interesting way of approaching it. I don't know. Value parser. Yeah, I mean, we're still going to need options. We're still going to need args. We're still going to need a command module. And right now in CLI, we've got like the command descriptor, which like is the internal structure of the command, and then a higher level command module. I kind of want to unify those if I can. We need like the CLI module, which defines how you actually create the CLI. Yeah, I mean, in the current CLI package, we've got this like primitive data type, which represents, I guess in clap, it would be the value parser, whatever. But this primitive data type is what allows us to parse the actual type represented by an option or an arg. So like, this thing, where is that? I guess we have to go to the internal module. Classic. Primitive. So we have these like different instructions that you can potentially have to deal with. And the CLI does this a lot where like the instructions are internal and the external API is like generic. I don't know if there's a way we can get around this, but gonna have to like look at that. But the idea here is that like these primitives describe the actual parsing of a value from a string. So a lot of this can probably be implemented with schema, which I think we do already anyways. And I think probably I'll move the validators. Like when I originally built CLI, I built it in like the sense that I wanted everything to be tree shakeable. But like in reality for CLI, that doesn't matter. And that restriction, putting that restriction on myself, meant that I had to write some weird code to get the like types and everything to work out. I think what I'll probably do in the next version is not do that. And I'll probably lean into a more we've done it already in like a variety of places inside small, but lean into more of a final encoding for different data types rather than an initial encoding. So what do I mean by that? Right now, in like normal 3.0 effect, for example, schedule, maybe schedule is not a good example. I mean, I guess it is. We'll just use effect as an or stream. I don't know. Schedules like a data type that has to be interpreted by a driver. So like when you create a schedule, you create like a set of primitives or steps that then have to be interpreted. In the 4.0 branch in small, we're moving a lot of stuff to more of a final encoding where the data type itself is actually directly interpretable. So like you can directly interpret a schedule itself instead of having to use a driver to interpret it. Anyway, I think like we would start with a primitive module, just like we did before. And we can use this as like a we can use this as like a inspiration. And we'll make these directly like we'll lean into more of a final encoding for the primitives. Yeah. So primitive will still be a generic structure. Although I kind of like the term value parser because like the term that because that's essentially what a primitive is doing. Like a primitive type has a way to parse and validate from a string. I think value parser would be a better name for this. And then like a value parser would have a parse method on it that is responsible for parsing into a value of type A. And parse would be an effectful operation that can fail with a validation error. And then that validation error is the thing that we show to users. Yeah, I think next time we stream, we'll start by working on that. So let's actually write it to do for ourselves. Value parser. For next stream, start work on the value parser A type, which is responsible for parsing a string into a value of type A. Or failing with a validation error. Right now, the CLI uses validation error as its like error type, but we could always, if we find a better name, we could always do that. And maybe we'll let Claude hack on this. So we'll see how Claude does with it. All right. Well, listen, folks, I need to get to work on a few things that I can't stream. So let's see who we can raid. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Thank you all very much for your support and watching, and I'll see you folks tomorrow.